Good evening, everyone. I am Michelle G., the proud CEO of Ebony and Jet. We just wrapped celebrating Women's History Month with our signature platform, Women Up, where we celebrated and elevated women as they embark on this journey called life. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to everyone that's been tuning in. There's so much more to come. So we are now transitioning into a new video series, Power 100 Talks. Many of you may be familiar with our amazing platform, Power 100, that recognizes the achievements of the 100 most influential Black Americans of the year. We are starting this journey today to elevate this critical platform. It's never too early to have meaningful conversations that inform us and bring us closer together, especially in trying times like we're experiencing today. Today's episode, y'all, is so dope. It's so special. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. I can't wait to just share this amazing conversation with you. It is the cast of Mahalia, presented by Robin Roberts. They will share their amazing journey on creating this historic movie. And y'all are going to see in there's a little picture of Ebony in there, Ebony magazine. I love it. Oh, my good friend Estelle is moderating the conversation tonight. And I want you to mark your calendars to tune in to watch Mahalia on Saturday, April 3rd at 8 p.m. on Lifetime. We got to support these amazing actors. Let me close out before I let you guys view this amazing content. What's next for Ebony? So we will be launching Community Connect, which is a monthly town hall to allow Ebony to have conversations with everyday people that are the curators of our community. We want to capture these amazing conversations. Also be on the lookout for the next 99 installations of Power 100 Talks. We called it because we really are going to give you 100 of them. And we are just beginning to create meaningful experience for our beloved Black community. So sit back, enjoy the first of many Power 100 Talks. On the behalf of myself, our amazing chairwoman, Eden Bridgman, and the rest of the Ebony team, I present you the cast of Mahalia. Enjoy.
The wedding of gospel singer Mahalia Jackson to salesman musician Minders Galloway came as a complete surprise. She has sung before queens and presidents, stunned musicologists, overflowed such world-renowned music halls as the State Opera in Vienna and Albert Hall in London, and 5 times faced a standing room only audience in Carnegie Hall.
How is my wife feeling today?
Married. Toast to that.
Thanks, Michelle. Look, I'm happy to kick off the first Power 100 Talks with the cast of the new film, Mahalia, which airs on Lifetime this Saturday, April 3rd at 8 p.m. EST. Robin Roberts presents the Mahalia Jackson story, is directed by Tony Award-winning director Kenny Leon, and stars Tony Award nominee, SAG and Grammy Award-winning actress Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black, as the gospel legend and civil rights activist Mahalia Jackson. So I'd like to welcome the cast. Jason Dirden has appeared on Broadway in both revivals of Tony Award winners Fences and Raisin in the Sun. And most recently, he starred as Levy in the West Coast revival of August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom at the Mark Taper Theater in Los Angeles. His television credits include starring roles in American Soul and Greenleaf, in addition to Tyler Perry's House of Pain and the procedural crime dramas Hawaii Five-0 and Elementary. Hi.
Hey, Estelle, how you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful. How you feeling?
I'm great. Happy to be here. You look beautiful.
Why, thank you. I put on sequins and red lips just for you guys. Joaquina Kalokunga recently received a Tony nomination for lead actress in their performance in the critically acclaimed Broadway production of Slave Play. She also received an Outer Critics Circle Award for Best Actress, cuz. Joaquina currently stars in HBO's series Lovecraft Country and can be seen playing Betty Shabazz opposite Kingsley Ben-Adir in Regina King's directorial debut One Night in Miami. Other TV credits include When They See Us. Recent Broadway credits include The Color Purple, Holla If You Hear Me, and Godspell.
Hi!
How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling blessed, really blessed.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm talking about. Last but not least, today we have Kenny Leon, and he's a Tony and Obie Award winning and Emmy nominated Broadway and television director. Guy's incredible. Kenny has so many projects that I'll only name a few. You know him for sure from Soldier's Play, Much Ado About Nothing, Holla If You Hear Me, A Raisin in the Sun, and so many more. Welcome, Kenny.
Hey, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. How you feeling? It's been a while.
My beautiful cast, I just love Joaquina and Jason. They're just two of my favorite artists in the country. Even before Mahalia Jackson, I just love their artistry. I love their activism, and I just want to say that while in their presence, because most of the time we get together, we're just working on the work, and I just want to say that I really appreciate them, and I think they're a gift to America.
Flowers, and we love that.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Peace.
Okay, well, Kenny, let's start with you. As I just mentioned, you have a huge body of work. I've had the chance to see a couple of them on Broadway myself, and I could attest to this. Can you tell me what drew you to the story of Mahalia and what got you involved in this film and the entire thing?
Well, the last thing I did for Lifetime was Steel Magnolias with Queen Latifah and Alfred Woodard and Felicia Rashad. And so I said the next thing that I do for Lifetime, it would have to be on that level. So I was doing a soldier's play on Broadway in March of last year when Broadway shut down. And I didn't know how soon we would get back to work, so in my insecurity of what was to come next, because theater was, I felt, the antithesis of COVID-19. So I left New York, came back to Atlanta, and every day I said, okay, I don't know when we're gonna come back, so let me just wake up every day. I'm gonna listen to Mahalia Jackson for an hour, because I grew up in Florida with my Christian mother, who made us go to church 8 days a week, and she was a gospel singer. So I said, if I listen to that music every morning, it'll give me comfort, So there was comfort in her music. So I wake up a couple hours, listen to Mahalia Jackson, then I would pray for an hour, then I would meditate. I had recently learned how to meditate, and just thinking that we're only small little people in this big universe. And then I would get on my new Peloton bike and I would ride for an hour. So I'm working on mind, spirit, and body. So I did that for 7 weeks, every single day. And then in the 7th week, it sounds so ironic now, but in the 7th week, I get a call from Robin Roberts and Tanya Lopez at Lifetime. And they say, we want you to come on and direct the Mahalia Jackson story. And the key is that it has to shoot in October because we have to premiere it Easter Sunday. Wow. And I was like, did you know that I was listening to this music every day for 7 weeks? They're like, no. I said, oh my God. I called my mother. She said, I don't care what else you're doing, baby, but you have to do that because number one, you're Southern. 2, you're Black. 3, you're Christian. And you need to tell that story through your lens. You need to find a singular vision to present that story. And you are the one. And this project is anointed. And she said, you're touched to do this. So I think it's my most important work. I think it's probably my best work. And it certainly is the best cast I've worked with in many, many years.
Oh my God. You speak about manifesting. You just said, bloop, bloop, this is what's going to happen in my life. And look, it showed up. You changed your pattern for 7 weeks. And this is an incredible way. This is how life happens. This is how the universe shows up for you. For aspiring directors, speaking to that point, can you speak to your process when you're approaching a story like this? Like, how did you even think? Because it's one thing to be like, I know Mahalia in and out. Right. It's another thing to produce it when the world has their own, attachments to Mahalia. How did you think?
When I went back to my mother, she said, she told me about my specificity as an artist. So tell it through that lens. And I said, well, I always do my work, whether it's the revival of A Raisin in the Sun or Fences. I'm trying to do it for the people that are still alive, because we can still make choices in our lives to get better. So do it for the people that are alive. And so I said, we're going through this COVID-19 pandemic. We just went through the George Floyd thing, so I started trying to look at it through that lens. And I said, wow, this is a great story to tell, because Mahalia Jackson lived through the pandemic of 1918. And she lived through the Great Depression of 1929. And she lived through the First World War and the Second World War and the Civil Rights Movement. And she was the inspiration to the Dr. King, I Have a Dream speech. I was like, this is a powerful, special woman that many people don't know about. So I want to tell it through that lens so that people sitting at home now could say, oh, if Mahalia got knocked down 9 times and got up 10, I can do it. If Mahalia wore a mask or saw people wearing masks, I can do it. If Mahalia had a hysterectomy and went through heart disease, I could do it. If Mahalia went through 2 divorces, I can do it. And I want people to Saturday to look at that and to find themselves in this story and to say, you know what? It's okay. We're gonna be all right in 2021. So that's why I told the story. That's how I told it. And to get designers and actors to believe in that vision, that's the second part of it, to carry that vision up the hill. And that's what I'm most proud of, because we told one story. And Matthew Head, who was a composer and did the music, he also did something very, very beautiful with this story. So I do think that Mahalia Jackson is big enough to contain 20 different stories of her life. But I think that our story is very specific to what we wanted to say to people all across the world who may see life as knocking them down. And so it's important to do this story at this particular time, I think.
You said all the things, and that it's incredible. Like for me, I watched it, and as you were breaking down all the different levels that she had lived through, I was like, oh my goodness, this she really did live through all the wars and like the original flu and what, and then she had a hysterectomy, and then there were 2 husbands, and oh my goodness, I was having a time in my soul, like especially as an artist, you know.
And the last thing she found out in our story is that, you know, in the last scene that Joaquina's in, that last scene where she discovers, you know, all her life she thought her gift from God was that beautiful voice. And then she realized, no, your gift really is your purpose. If you find your purpose, whether it's playing the piano, like Joaquina's calendar, or like Joaquina's character, or like Jason's character, who is a minister, or some people in life, you're a painter, you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, whatever. If you figure out why you are doing it, that's the real gift. And I hope everybody can receive that on Easter weekend.
I think they will. So moving along to Jason, you played the role of Reverend Russell Roberts. Yeah. We never normally see a role with, it's always the shady pastor or the shady church guy, but you were actually one of the good guys that isn't really listed when you look at Mahalia's Wikipedia and all her story. He started off as a fan, and then it turned into more. What was it like playing that role? Did you know anything about this? Did you know anything about him? How did you feel?
No, I didn't know anything about about Russell Roberts before. And when Kenny called me, of course I wanted to do it. I mean, listen to Kenny talk about the project and about what he wanted to do and the story he wanted to tell. Kenny is like a master exciter of all things that he's doing. Like, if you don't want to be a part of something that Kenny is doing, then you brain dead or something. Something's going on in your head that you can't feel his excitement and his intention and purpose for doing the project. And then when I found out what the role was, I was like, I don't know, because I've already played a reverend. I don't want to be typecast and people thinking all he can do is play reverends. But when I read the script, the wonderful script by Bettina and Todd Kryler, I saw that he was a man first.
Yeah.
And the kind of supportive man that he was to Mahalia, I said, oh, this is something that I can really get into. This is like an honest, true, grounding character that I would love to play. And when I started doing research for him, you're right. He's somewhat of an obscure person. You know, he had relationships with some celebrities, and he had a very, 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 very deep relationship with Mahalia, but there are not many pictures of him. There's not much written about him. So I said, oh, this is an interesting cat, almost similar to me in that he was around, but it seemed like he didn't necessarily crave the spotlight.
Right.
but you knew he was in the room. And that's
Right.
kind of how I move as an individual artist. I said, okay, I can connect to this guy. This is on spot on for me. So like I say, just to be a part of it and be that part of the story, that personal life for Mahalia, to see how she loved and to see how she was loved, I think it's so important to balance, that professional life with that personal life, and for the audience to connect and understand what went on internally with Mahalia from a personal standpoint is so key to her story, and to us connecting as a whole.
Speaking of connecting, you and Mildred weren't really friends. Joaquina, your character was like, I don't like him. And I think it was more to do with the way that she handled herself when she was around him, which, probably came from looking at things by her lens. Now we're going to look at a clip in a minute. But Jason, what was the dynamic like for you as an actor? Looking at the dynamic between the two women, how did you kind of approach your role where you were like, I'm still gonna love her and I'm still gonna love on her even though her best friend's like,
Well, there's always gonna be that friend. So as a man, I just focused on my purpose and what I was there for. And if she gives me a shot, fine. If not, that's fine. I'm not here for Mildred. I'm here for Mahalia, and I can only try to have Mahalia trust me and my genuineness and that I wanted her to be the best that she could be. And that's all I was there for. So if Mildred gets on the train, great. If not, hey, I'm in a relationship with Mahalia, not Mildred.
Right. Well, let's take a look at the clip. Mahalia and Russell, let's go.
Lord, please.
Can I help?
Can you cook?
As well as I can sing.
Amazing grace. Oh, now you're making my ears hurt. Dinner gonna be late.
Oh, this isn't like you.
How you know what I'm like? You don't see me every day.
I've had enough of your cooking to know this burning of the kitchen means something is wrong.
Well, they want me to sing at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, Mahalia Jackson stepping into the magic circle.
I don't belong in no Carnegie Hall. Who you think I am? Victoria! See you laugh.
No, look, Duke Ellington's played there.
That's because he's class.
Baby.
Man, Russell, I'm scared. I ain't no trained opera singer. I don't belong there. I ain't good enough. I ain't sophisticated. I ain't educated. And what the heck is the magic circle in?
Mahalia Jackson, you are the smartest. The strongest of faith God ever put on this planet. All you need is take one seed of what you give others, plant it in yourself.
She burnt the food. Mahalia, she seemed to really respect Reverend Russell Roberts, and despite how Mildred felt, which was interesting too. Reverend Russell, he seemed to always continually encourage her. Do you think he came into her life when she needed it most? How do you think? I mean, when you look at that from the artist character standpoint, does that resonate? How do you feel about that in life? Is it always about don't we love to see? I'm trying to phrase it. Don't we love to see when instead of our women being torn down by men and treated badly? Isn't it lovely and refreshing sometimes to see the other side happen where she's supported and she's she's held up?
Absolutely. So often, especially in cinema, we see situations where the man is there to get something.
Right.
To get something, where in this moment, which I think is so important, is that you just see a black man coming to give and to give all he can to make sure that this black woman reaches her full potential. And that's all he wants. Her full potential, receive love. That's it. I think it's a beautiful thing because that exists.
Yes.
That exists and it's so necessary to be seen. It
really does. Now, Joaquina, hi.
Hi.
We
That was
touched-
John and Mildred.
I mean, they were getting it, Mildred.
I feel like I gotta defend her right now.
Mildred was the ride or die, and I love Mildred's character because she was so nervous and so excited to do so well. You know, she started young, it seemed, and she was so excited to do so well for Mahalia. And she was her longtime pianist, another character that we know this much about, really, when we think about Mahalia's legacy. So kudos to the writers and Kenny for bringing out her character. Was it difficult for you to play that role? You know, I mean, you're following her cues. Did you play piano? Was it like, how was that? How was that moment?
No, I did not play piano.
Okay.
So yes, definitely terrified. I bought a piano as soon as I found out that Kenny wanted me to do this part. And thanks to Matthew Head, he let me come into the recording studio while they were laying down tracks, and I got to watch the musicians record and play the music. So I just video recorded them to just kind of get the physicalness of what it means to be a pianist, and took that into the rehearsal room with me. And thanks to Kenny for allowing me to play. But so much of the relationship was on the paper, and of course with Danielle, it was easy. It was easy to be in that space.
That's perfect. All right, so we're gonna show the clip.
That wasn't me. He ain't walked in 20 years. You hear me? No, that was God, the power of God. That ain't me. That ain't me, son. Don't you feel him in your spirit? Woo!
Come on, Mama. Mama, it's all right.
You hear him? I did not hear that man.
No, Mama, I don't understand. It was the singing. It was the music that made the miracle.
God was moving through me. Oh, and Mildred, did you feel that?
Wow, that part had me in I was like, oh my days, like, because when you're in that moment as a singer, as an artist, and you're playing and you're in that moment, you sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, I'm just in this, I didn't know what happened, you know. That part punched me in the chest. Mildred Falls is credited with doing a lot of being a huge part of Mahalia's sound, right? And her success, but she was struggling through. She had arthritis, and I'm sure in those times there were obviously less advanced ways of dealing with it. And she would put her hands in the hot water, trying to, I guess, soothe the pain. That was a lot of sacrifice on her part. You learned she had gotten divorced, and it was just her, and she had to get it right night after night with Miss Mahalia. There was no four ways with this, right?
Right.
What do you think about that sacrifice? Like, and thinking about that as you're playing her character.
It's interesting, the burdens that we all carry within our own stories, what we choose to share and what we choose not to. And I think Mildred knew that in supporting Mahalia, they were doing something bigger than themselves. Yeah. And I think she trusted God to provide in that moment whatever Mahalia needed, whatever the people needed. I mean, you pretty much had to in those cases, because like you said, at that time, there were no cures. There was no medicine to really deal with arthritis at that time. And progressively over the years, it just got extremely worse, as she progressed. So I think it's a testament to her strength, a testament to this relationship, and believing that they were really doing something powerful.
Right. And in all of that and doing the powerful thing, she still got the courage to be like, no, I'm not being treated fairly. I'm out, and it was painful for her, because again, this is bigger than them. Right. And she fell in some hard times, and you saw her later on with the scars on her hands from having arthritis. It's a story that I think a lot of musicians can relate to through over the years. of falling on hard times and not having enough money to handle and pay. And, you know, do you feel the role that you played for her gave her just due as far as her contribution to Mahalia's whole life?
I truly hope so. Like I said, I did not know a lot about Mildred beforehand, and I hope what this does is give more people an impetus to explore and learn more about her. I think she's an incredible human being. And just to also speak about this tension between her and Russell's, I think that came essentially from her relationship, because she was married to a pastor. And sometimes we can project our own struggles and insecurities onto our friends' relationships or onto other people's relationships, and unjustly. So to see that Russell stuck around through that is a great testament, I think, to where she was like, all right, he's good enough. He's staying around. He's not leaving.
I mean, he's here.
All right, I guess.
Yeah. Right. I think it was just beautiful to see that she was human, and everything that happened around her with all the people humanized her, where we look at her as such an incredible icon, and you don't see the background. We don't get to see when she was struggling or had a hard time believing in herself or making up, like just getting to the point. Everybody humanized her. Everybody made her into a real human. I think it's important for us to see. So I have one last question for you, Kenny, and then we're gonna let y'all go. The film airs this Saturday on April 3rd at 8 p.m. EST. What is your hope, Kenny and Joaquina? What is your hope that people take away from tuning in? Like, what is the thing that you want people to get from this the most?
Well, one thing I can say already is that what our intent to do, the story we were trying to tell, we told that story. Okay. So it's already a success for me in my eyes, but I also carry a lot of responsibility for this. So I feel the pressure to so when people like my mother or Danielle's mother or Joaquina's family, when they look at this, they see we have honored this in a great way. When I think about my friend Yolanda King, who was Dr. King's oldest daughter, and I want her to look down and say, Kenny, you honored this in a great way. But when I really look at it deeply, as great as Mahalia Jackson was, this is bigger than Mahalia Jackson. So I'm reminded of Lorraine Hansberry when she wrote A Raisin in the Sun, and for the first time in a long time, you had three Black women on stage. You had Ruth, Benitha, and Lena on stage with something to say, not just an exit, 2 lines here and there, but they had real lives and real conversations and real arcs. When I think of our film, I think of dark-skinned women. I think of Olivia Washington and Joaquina Kalokunga and Danielle Brooks, great Danielle Brooks, all three on screen, just going through life as chocolate women in America. And so I want people to see that. I want people to see what Black women go through in the hospital when we have we go through hysterectomies and fibroids that I'm learning more than other women. We are treated we're treated in the medical community in a different way. So I want people to feel that. I want Black women to feel that we got part of their story right. And like when Joaquina was just talking about even the way one looks at her character, there is nothing in Russell's behavior in our story that says he was a bad man. So to me, it's like, oh, she must be saying something that happened in her life. Okay, then we find out later in the story, oh, you were married to a minister and he mistreated you. Okay, so you got to be careful with how you listen to people. So I want people to find themselves in the movie. I want them to say, you know what? I've been knocked down 9 times, but I'm gonna get up 10.
There you go. And I think they're going to do that. You absolutely opened my eyes, and I'm so grateful for it. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to watch this again, April 3rd. Yeah.
Well, another thing we also said, we mentioned Danielle Brooks momentarily, but she's the anchor of our film. But
Yes.
also there's people like Rob Demery, who plays MLK, who's great. And this entire cast is just phenomenal. So I love it. And I look for the day to work with you.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. This, we put it up. We're manifesting. So this is absolutely happening. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here with us. I cannot wait to watch this April 3rd, 8 p.m. EST, the Mahalia Jackson story presented by Robin Roberts. Oh my goodness. I want to thank the cast for joining me today. Next up, I'm going to talk to Miss Danielle Brooks, the lead, Miss Mahalia herself.
I'm gonna move on up a little higher. I'm gonna.
This song, it's from Mahalia Jackson.
Let you sing it. All these white folks tell me how wonderful I am. Then they get mad when I buy a home in their neighborhood. Yes, I'm gonna move. Dear Lord, your gift wasn't my voice. Your gift was my purpose. Tell them about the dream.
Robin Roberts presents Mahalia. Premieres April 3rd on Lifetime.
I'm now excited to continue the conversation with Danielle Brooks, who plays the role of Mahalia in a film that airs this Saturday. Danielle Brooks is best known for her role as Tasha Tacy Jefferson in Netflix's Emmy-nominated series Orange is the New Black. Now, Brooks and her cast received a SAG Award in 2014 for Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Comedy Series, and Danielle was the recipient of the Young Hollywood Award for Breakthrough Actress. Brooks has appeared in HBO Girls, as is Ansari's Netflix comedy series Master of None, and so many others. On the big screen, Brooks voiced the character for Sony's Angry Birds and has previously starred in R.M. Movement's Time Out of Mind and the independent feature I Dream Too Much, which premiered at South by Southwest. Brooks made her Broadway debut in 2015, the revival of A Color Purple, as Sophia. Just to let you know about her pipes. And received a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Musical. In June 2019, she played Beatrice in the Public Theater's production of Much Ado About Nothing. Welcome, Miss Danielle Brooks. How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I'm so great. What some gospel person would say, blessed and highly favored.
That's what I'm talking about. You did such an incredible job with Miss Mahalia Jackson, the icon, the legend. Look, let's talk about her and and the character you played. She was integral to spreading the word of the gospel. She had unexpected success, like 22 million records sold in that period of time.
Oh yeah.
She had like many firsts as a gospel singer. We think about what it takes to sell 2 million in this time and 22 million gospel records in her time. With everything that she's achieved, like she went for it. For you, given everything that's happened in the past couple years, what did it make you feel like when acting out the specific scene we just saw?
Oh man, it's been a tough year for us, for sure. When it comes to civil rights and it comes to this pandemic, it's just been heavy. And so one thing I do know for sure is we shall overcome, that her music is still relevant to today because we're still going through a lot of the same things, How I Got Over is still relevant today. Needing to hear the Lord's Prayer is still relevant today. And so I just try to find some solace and some hope in her music. And I think I have for sure. By spending so much time with her music over the past few months.
Right. I mean, she was another thing that I saw in a film that had me like, oh, this is so cool. Like we never got to see this part, was her being a friend and a real loyal supporter and family member to Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Our icon, Martin Luther King Jr. So, it was great to see how their relationships all played out, and she was a real friend to him, and, and they worked together for the civil rights movement. It wasn't just, but it was, despite everybody's, be careful, the walkers, the whatevers, she was like, that's my friend, Mm-hmm. Do you feel that it's important for artists to get involved and use their platforms when possible? Like, where do you stand with that?
I've always kind of been in the middle, I think we do have a responsibility when you have been given such a huge platform and voice. I think we should use it, But I think that's a lot of pressure because some of us didn't ask to be thrown into this.
Right.
You know, for me, I knew I just wanted to be respected for my work. You know, I went to college for this and I went to school for theater, not so much TV and film, hoping to get into TV and film. But I didn't know that right after Orange is the New Black, my life and world would change so quickly, you know? So I feel like for some people, it can be very overwhelming, you know, but I feel like if you can find something that you're passionate about and something that you love, there's something that can be done. You know, you don't have to be Oprah, you know, those are,
right.
You don't have to be Gayle King or Tarana or Stacey Abrams, you know, like you can do it your way. And that's cool too, you know? So that's what I think as artists, we have to understand. We do have responsibility, but do it your way. It will be good. Yeah.
100%. It's about the little things and the everyday actions. Speaking of the little things and the everyday actions, we find out that Mahalia had a hysterectomy. Like whether we weren't too sure whether she had actually wanted it or whether it just happened, you know. The energy that she was given was, you know, that I got from the film was that she had, you know, the doctor she trusted had given her hysterectomy. I think that was a powerful scene and something that none of us knew about her. That was, to me, just, oh my word, you know, again, in the middle of everything. And by all means, your energy been raised to a husband and a child, you know, and you're in church. And then the one thing you feel with the person that you love was just, you know, that had to have been something for you to digest that. And as an actress, pull that out so powerfully, like give us that so powerfully. I was in awe, you know. It's a really powerful scene. And Kenny was spoken about wanting to share the Black woman's experience. So I think you did that. And you did that in multiple spaces, you know, across the film. How did that feel for you? Like, how was that?
Yeah, so, you know, with Mahalia, it's very hard to find the juice there. I think whomever was her publicist back in the day did a great job of hiding her stuff.
All her things,
You have to go searching. And so I'm grateful that Robin Roberts and Kenny, they allowed me to come on as co-executive producer, because that scene, the hysterectomy scene, was not in the script. And I said, after doing some research, I was like, we have to talk about this, because every woman, and especially Black women, we have different journeys when it comes to womanhood, being a mother or wanting to be a mother. And so I just wanted us to feel represented. I wanted us to feel seen. And also the older generation to be heard that could not speak up for their own bodies. As some women can't today. We can't even decide whether we want an abortion or not, you know. So I just felt like it was important to highlight that. And also, you know, during that time, Black people were really scared because of the Tuskegee syphilis cases that were happening, where we were really, truly being experimented on. And so it was a moment for us to hit some of those moments and talk about it. And I remember, like, I'll just tell you this. Thank God I had really close relationship to our writer, Todd Kreidler. And I said to him, I sent him some words from women that had their own journey with not being able to carry, and that were friends of mine. And I sent them to him, and I said, here's some stuff that I think is true, and I would love it, you know, if it could make it in. And some of those words are from close friends of mine who have experienced it, of like how it makes them feel to not be able to be a mom. And so it comes from a very honest place, you know.
Whew. This is the thing about it. For me, again, we're like all of us have heard about Mahalia. All of us have heard of her, seen the pictures. The level of detail that went into finding the moments to play her character, to me, is wow, because we don't, you know, again, we don't we're not honored in that way, especially as Black women on the screen. It's always such a harrowing, but it just brings it, the way you guys did it, the way that you played her role, it just brought it forward and made it present, made it clear. You know what I mean? Like, no, this is actually everyone's life. And this is, like you said, the words that you were able to give, the words that you were able to word into, their character, that's incredible. That's commendable. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I want to talk about some of the relationships in the film. We see all of her 3 different relationships from her. I feel like there were a couple more, but like we got the main 3. and for the most part, like the first 2 were good guys, wrong place.
Get me in the water,
good guy, wrong place. Second guy, we like him. We want him. I mean, but we like the second one. And then the third guy, you just wanted him to go from the beginning. You were like, okay, she's over it. She just wants company. She doesn't actually care. But you can see it like it. Okay, so the relationship that I loved the most though was with Reverend Robert Russell, played by Jason Dirden. That was sweet. And this in music. In music, it's just a little bit tough to find somebody who's going to encourage you and not compete. I'm sure the same in with all creative women. I know you're good. I know you're wonderful. You're having a great time with that.
But it was hard. It was hard to get there.
Everything in timing and everything is good, but you understand the struggle, right? We spoke to Jason about him being the importance of him playing the role of somebody who poured into her, right? And just the importance of his whole relationship and playing the good guy, despite what you thought he was going to be, seeing the importance of relationship. Can you share any of yours without giving the world? Because I know you're quite private. I'm quite private, but tell us your feelings and your thoughts on that too.
On my personal relationships or with Mahalia?
How you feel? Whatever you feel. As it relates,
Okay. I what I found most interesting though was the fact that she had gotten divorced. Because especially for women that are so spiritual and so in the church, divorce is not something that you do. So I was actually shocked that she got a divorce, and she tried to stay private too, but how can you, she's on the cover of Ebony and Jet magazine and they're wanting the dish, But the thing about her, she stayed true to who she was. She was honest about where she was with her relationships and tried to pull back and not share too much. But she was transparent because she kind of ain't had no choice when she gets a divorce.
Right. She was out there.
But for me, I try to do the same. I try to find a healthy balance of being transparent without losing something, my relationship with my partner, I've talked about. Dennis is great. I love him so much. He's my fiance. We get married. That's all y'all need to know. But I feel like the other thing is what keeps our relationship so special. What is ours? It's ours. It's, I don't think it has to be shared, So for me, I'm enjoying that. I think it's what keeps it together. It's the glue, it's the privacy part.
Right.
So it's been, I'm grateful. I'm happy and he's happy and we got a beautiful little girl and she's good too. So.
And that's what we love to hear. That's what I'm talking about. We love happy, we love joy, we love babies. All right, well, let's talk about Mildred Falls. She's another major character in the film for me that I never knew about. But that for every musician, for every creative, having your person who understands you musically is peak, and it is key, and it is part of your story. She accompanied her for 25 years, right? So I want to talk about how they worked together. Mahalia was demanding. She was a beast with it, as they say. And rightly so, she never sang the song the same way. To me, I feel like that was just testing, just to see how skilled you are and what you're learning.
Right.
Because we do that sometimes. Let me get this note instead. What do you think about 2 Black women doing it the way they did it again in that time? 2 Black women when the status quo for all women was, how dare you even leave your house? to go and pursue something of your own.
Yeah.
What do you think about the dynamic between the two of them and just the idea that they were like out there?
Yeah, I think it's so dope still. I just love the fact that they didn't let the world tell them what they should and shouldn't do. You know, I just appreciate the fact that they said, you know what, we're going to be in uncomfortable places. We're going to sing at Carnegie Hall and Ed Sullivan Show, and we're going to sing in Europe. We were probably scared to get on a plane and all this stuff that was happening and scared to travel. You know, this is still a time when they had the Green Book and they had to have instructions where you could get gas and where you could rest your head and use the bathroom. So for them to say, you know what, that we do have a greater purpose here. We're not going to be stopped. We know what God has given us to do, and we're going to do it. And it's so admirable, right? It's so admirable. Yeah. And I just am very grateful. I got to play it opposite my best friend, Joaquina Kalokunga. We were the only 2 Black girls in our class at Juilliard. And so we've been tight for years, and I'm her child's godparent and vice versa. And so to get to play it with her, it made it so much easier because these women had known each other for so long. And there's, you know, as every friendship, you go through your ups and downs. And so it was very true to us. Well, some of it, I don't want to say that we're totally good, but we know each other so well that it was very easy for us to find the relationship that Mahalia and Mildred had with one another. Right. And we support each other so well that we were able to find that part too.
It's a true sisterhood. It's a real sisterhood. That's what it is. Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, what do you think? What do you hope that viewers take away from the Mahalia story this weekend?
You know, it's interesting because I've been trying to figure out how to answer that question, and I do want the audience to take away hope and faith and to know that we're going to come out on the other end of what we're going through right now. But I really feel like this is for Mahalia. I'm happy for the world to see it, and I want the world to see it, but the world's going to take what they want to from the story regardless, you know? So this one is for her. This one is to add to her legacy. This one is for the Rosetta Tharpes and for the Big Mama Thorntons and for Ella Fitzgerald, who has not had her story told yet. You know, that it's for all of the women that have not yet had their moment. And it's a moment for us to just keep the light ablaze. You know, let's not dim their lights because they left us a lot. You know?
Well, thank you for being an add-in and being a part of her legacy and just using your talent to further hers. I cannot wait till the day they make a whole movie about you. It's gonna be lit. I already know it. I can see it. Well, thank you, Danielle. No, sorry, go ahead. I
was going to say thank you to Estelle. I remember when we met, I don't know if you remember, at Soho House briefly. I was like, hey.
I was like, hi. I love you. Okay, listen.
You are a beautiful soul and a beautiful star. And you're leaving a lot for us as well. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you, Joaquina Kalokunga. Thank you, Jason Dirden. And thank you, Kenny Leon, for speaking with me today. Everybody go tune in on Saturday, April 3rd, 8 p.m. EST to watch Mahalia. It's Lidgy.
The wedding of gospel singer Mahalia Jackson to salesman musician Mildred Galloway came as a complete surprise. She has sung before queens and presidents, stunned musicologists, overflowed such world-renowned music halls as the State Opera in Vienna and Albert Hall in London, and 5 times faced a standing room only audience in Carnegie Hall.
How is my wife feeling today?
Mary. Toast to that.